I've got a couple of announcements to make today. Firstly, we are so pleased that we've been able to work closely with the MCC and be able to work with the Trust and with Daniher's drive and with Neale himself and his family to appropriately honour someone who continues to work very hard for others. Back 7 years ago, when Neale was first diagnosed with MND, one of 2,000 people a year across the country and 400 a year in Victoria, he would have been told that the average life expectancy post-diagnosis is about 2.5 years. So all these years later, Neale Daniher has achieved so much. None of us would have thought any less of him. None of us would have had any problem if he and his family had decided upon getting that diagnosis that he had a disease for which there is no cure, for which there are really limited prospects in terms going certainly back then. Nobody would have thought any less of him if he and his family had simply decided to work out a bucket list of things that they wanted to do and to tick that off and to spend time together. None of us would have had a problem with that. But instead, in one of the greatest acts of kindness, one of the most generous things that I've ever experienced in my public life, Neale Daniher and his family have devoted these precious days and weeks and months, and we're so pleased to say years, to the fight against this insidious disease. It's because of Neale's profile and his hard work and the sort of bloke that he is that he and those who work with him to support him have raised nearly $50 million and seen investments at about $48.5 million into research to find a treatment, to find a cure, to deal with this wicked illness, and to give to others hope and a real sense of confidence for the future. So I am delighted and proud that we've been able to, in partnership with the Trust, in partnership with all of those who join us today, to be able to pay tribute to someone who lives a life in the service of others. This is a special place for Neale and his family and for every lover of football. So many of Neale's most important moments were on this ground, both as a player and as a coach. But in more recent years, that fight against MND is what people have known him best for, and I think regarded him most highly for, because it is such an act of kindness, such a generous thing to do. So in a moment, we will unveil one of 2 street signs, Daniher's Way, from William Barrack Bridge up to where we are standing now. There are some plaques, some storyboards that tell Neale's story, an amazing journey of one of the greatest Victorians. Now, the second thing I want to do, and this is what Neale will be most interested in, because great fine words don't and generous words don't pay the bills. They don't help in fighting this wicked enemy. We have, as a government, contributed $5 million over recent years to things like Daniher's Drive, a big research program where we can map and do DNA sequencing on every single MND patient right across the country and provide that database that is so critical to monitoring the impact of curative treatments, therapies, and ultimately solving the riddle that is MND. I'm so pleased today to be able to announce that the Victorian Government will add a further $1 million to that effort. So on behalf of all Victorians, we will donate a further $1 million, taking our total contribution in the last 6 years to $6 million. I can't think of a better place for that money to be invested. This is all about supporting many hundreds of Victorians, and indeed many hundreds of thousands of people right across the world in a fight against this disease. I want to thank Neale, thank his family, thank the G and the MCC Trust for all of their work in order to, the club, sorry, I should say, and the MCG Trust for the partnership to make this possible. A fine Victorian, a great friend, someone who in every way lives his life in the service of others, and someone who's appropriately acknowledged by the naming of this walk, this way, and also some storyboards to tell his story, one that is an inspiration to so many.